This is Lauren.
This is Trey.
And this
is the Partnership Podcast. On this week's episode, we discuss how we attune to each other's sensitivity levels, especially when one of us is low energy or when one of us has low resilience. And then Lauren teaches me a grounding modality on how to groove new neural pathways. Enjoy.
Another time, another place. This one. Good morning, my love.
Good morning, babe.
What if we talk about Jelly Bear and how to be sensitive with one another when we're feeling kind of low resiliency and fighting a common summer cold?
I would love that.
Yeah, because I think we have more tools than we ever have. And yet, for audience members who may just be joining, I have a tendency when Trey is low to overfunction and to try to help, but it's not read in his body as that. And I am often working outside of my limits. And I have some new tools, even from school, that I can share. Yeah, would you say that's an accurate description, that when you're low, I tend to, it's almost like protrude in a little bit more?
Much more in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Mm-hmm.
it's like, what do you need?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Or like, how can I help?
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
And yet I still feel myself doing it. We use this highly concentrated drink called ACF. I'm sure it stands for something.
I'm not sure what it stands for.
Something. We call it dirt lovingly here. And we just take swigs of it. You can totally put a tablespoon of it in like orange juice or something and drink it down. It's a lot more palatable. But it just helps our immune systems fight off things like summer colds, and we're all out of it. And so Trey feels that he has the resiliency to go and pick this thing up from our local health store. But I can feel myself being like, just let me do it. Just let me do it.
Right now, I feel like shit.
Yeah.
It was like a scratchy throat yesterday. I don't know where it came from. I wasn't boozing it. I wasn't having a good time yesterday. I wasn't having maximum fun. I wasn't smoking joints on the golf course. I don't do those things. So today, woke up with a sore throat, and it's the middle of the summer. Like, gentle audience, if you're listening to this, like, what is dumber than a summer cold? It makes no fucking sense. But
So
I think
frustrating.
I think I have a summer cold where I just feel I could go back to bed right now. I've been up for a couple hours, did a stretch, messed around in the shed. I haven't done anything like over exerting or anything like that, but it's like I feel like I'm already out of juice. Also acknowledging that like I feel like I'm already out of juice is helpful for me, where it gives me a little bit more juice. And then it's like, yo, you have a shit ton of stuff to do today, like on your list. You can blow it off. You're good with it, man.
Because if we don't rest, our body will make us rest in mere days when we're fighting something like a common cold. And this idea that, oh, if I just push through, it'll be better, it is not truth. It's not truth.
I could run myself into the ground if I wanted to. I'm going to become pissy Trey also.
Yeah.
I'll get real pissy with myself and then with the people around me that don't deserve that.
It's literally what I was about to say, is that what's hilarious is some of these lies that we've chosen to believe because of beliefs that we inherited, they don't just affect us. They affect our loved ones too. And that's why it's so beautiful to kind of reassess them, because what we end up doing is inadvertently hurting people when what we really want is to be cared for because we feel like shit. And admitting that level of vulnerability is wild.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in school again for a certification, and poor Trey has to listen to me talk about this all the time, but I'm loving it. It's an embodied intimacy and relationship coaching certificate. And I think I might have mentioned on here before that I'm working with a ton of different partner dynamics, and I really wanted some more tools to use tangibly in session, but embodied holistic tools, somatic tools, not just write down on a piece of paper all the things that are frustrating you, not that type of shit. And so recently we were doing a course in repatterning attachment strategies. And I got to be in a demo, a role-playing demo with another student. We're all over the world. It's so cool. But our instructor is like really renowned, Dr. Scott Lyons, who has worked in somatic experiencing and embodied intimacy tools for a long time. So I was so excited to get to do this role play.
Babe, what is somatic versus
somatic is in the body, is the way our bodies speak versus here. So it's like the language of the body, our somatics, right? So long before we could say, I want to touch you or don't touch me, things like that, our bodies were learning how to communicate through touch.
Is it feeling versus thinking?
Sure, that's a great way to say it. Love that. Wait, a succinct explanation, sir. You may be low resiliency.
Still got it.
That was
I have a low-grade
sexy.
summer cold, but I still got it. I got that magic.
I love watching the tape when you do something like that because you can literally see me be like,
Oh, you get a little horny?
I do.
Good.
If people go back and watch when we talk about distance or pursuer dance and you describe it as a pH scale, you literally see me be like,
If you want to have sex after this, you just have to do all the work, babe.
and I can't kiss you. You're
Prostitute rules.
It's contaminated.
Pretty woman rules.
No, I have clients all week. No, I can't get stay over there. You can be sexy though.
Thanks.
The exercise that we did was, okay, Lauren, from this list of different attachment strategies, pick one to role play. And then my counterpart picked one as well. I picked someone who really wants to do the most for their relationship and who is kind of aggressive and assertive in the way that they want to show love to the other person. I picked this because I think at my truest, I can be that person. I can, right? It's like the doer, the like, let me perform for you, choose me, pick me, love me. In my truest, right? We've done a lot of work to release some of those patterns. Anyway, and then the other person picked just kind of a detached, avoidant type of strategy. But we didn't know any of this going in. We were just acting. Like they asked us to volunteer to role play if we had a little bit of acting background because they really wanted us to like go for this. So I brushed off my acting chops, right? And what I didn't know, and I just went back and rewatched it yesterday because we have access to all the recordings, is I literally leaned forward into the Zoom screen, like aggressively. We're supposed to talk about not doing the chores, not taking out the trash. And so I'm leaning forward and I'm saying like, hey, I just, it's really frustrating me that you're not doing the trash, but is there anything I could do? Like anything I could do to help you with this? Anything? And what I saw is my counterpart lean backwards, okay, and be like, yeah, I know I didn't do the trash, but, I really wish you wouldn't. So anyway, the conversation's not important. What's important is that as the instructor encouraged me to feel into the role I was playing, to feel into what I was feeling in my body, I felt desperate to be helped, for connection, to bring the person on the other side of the screen closer to me. So what was I doing but leaning in further and further and further, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the instructor was like, let's just take 10, 15 seconds to just breathe. And Lauren, I can imagine it feels really hard that you feel like you're doing this alone, and I can see that you really just want to be helpful to your partner. I can see that. But I just want to encourage you to feel into all of the spaces of your body. And I'm sure there's been times before where you haven't been helped. And y'all, this is a role play. And yet I'm feeling these words like impact me so deeply. And I'm breathing, and he's encouraging me to breathe like into my back and just rest into my own body. And you see me literally fall back away from the screen and just like rest in my own presence, in my own soul. And what you saw simultaneously is the person that I had leaned forward into, who had gone so far back, come up and take up the space that was theirs. And what I felt in my body was, ironically, a deeper connection to this person I don't know on the screen because they were able to be in themselves. I hadn't caused them to run away from me. They were there with me. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is so beautiful, because what my role-playing character had wanted was connection with this person. Like, here, how can I help you? Right? I will help you. That will give you more connection.
Now, would you say that's connection, or would you say that's maybe more fusion?
Right? Right? Which is a character I had absolutely taken on. What was so beautiful to me was that simply by, and you and I have been talking about this, 15 seconds of kind of feeling into myself, feeling into the anxiety in self, right? Right? All of these types of things. I was able to self-regulate and just be okay. Just be okay on a Zoom screen. And so what I noticed in my body right before we came on camera, and I was like, could I go do this for you? And you said, no, I think I'm going to do it. Immediately, what did I feel? Like, well, how could I tell him that, like, no, really, he can stay home and rest, and I really can do this thing, and won't you just let me surge? I started to feel that desire to push in closer for all of the fusion reasons. And when I just took a breath and stopped and stood back and said, you know what? He's a grown-ass man. Mm-hmm. And if he really wants this, it's okay. He can reach out and ask me for this. He knows that I'll be coming back from out of town a little later this afternoon. Mm-hmm. And if he runs out of juice, he can ask. But continually pushing in, going to fusion, let me serve you, right? This is a role I'm to play. Because once you start unpacking it, y'all, it's fascinating. Once I start to unpack, the inherited beliefs that I have is I am no good to my husband, that men need care when they are sick, that this is my primary duty. Why would I let a sick husband go out into the world, right? Does that align with me anymore? No.
Good.
No. But that tendency, right? That body, that somatic memory, body memory was still there, right? Let me do this for you. Mm-hmm. So anyway, just fascinating for me that we talked about this in another class, that we can intervene at the level of sensation, not at the behavior. I still asked the thing, okay? And your response still triggered in me this, I need to serve him, okay? Your, no, I got it, baby.
Can we do a hypothetical yes? I'm going to ask you yes. Mm-hmm. Or like I'll say yes to yours. Mm-hmm. Ooh, okay, because I'm going to ask some questions first.
Okay.
Is this This is hypothetical.
Okay.
Yeah. Where it's because I can also in my assessment of can Lauren do it for me, I check in with my own like resiliency where it's I'm not bedridden right now. Or I'm still pretty present, so can I actually do this and like drive to the thing, and do I have the resiliency to do a couple other things on that side of the town? My answer is yes. Let's say if it's not, or let's entertain Lauren doing it for me and then I just stay home. What is your, this is the question I want to ask. Ooh, maybe, honey, what does your day look like today? Because I know you have to go to Roanoke for business. Like, would you have time to do it before then?
Ooh, good question. No, I would not have time to do it before then. I would need to do it on my way coming home because I drive through that area of town on my way home.
Got
so
it.
That would be an arrival at home time of 5:30.
Okay. Oh shit. Okay, and you could pick that up for me like around 5:30?
Mm-hmm. But it wouldn't be until 5:30.
Okay.
So if you'd like it earlier, it would need to be done by then. I mean, I couldn't do it before. Great. So that's totally understandable.
I love that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like seeking a clarifying question because in my mind, it's like, I want to get that stuff in me now also. And it's like, do I have the resilience to go get the medicine now? And the answer is yes. Mm-hmm. I was like, baby, thank you so much. I'm good though. I totally got it.
Which, I mean, that felt juicy in my body. Mm-hmm. And you and I have talked at length on here about how both of us will sometimes go to isolation because that feels like a safer space. Like, I think we're both highly avoidant at our crux. And that can be really interesting because when I feel avoidance or isolatory behavior or standing in autonomy, I can start to do the fusey thing. And so that little mini conversation that we just had gave me all the connection I was craving.
Sick.
Because I got a little more clarification. What if I concluded it with this? Great, babe. That sounds amazing. Can I be your backup plan?
Fuck yeah. Thanks, babe. Makes me feel juicy where it's like, oh shit, that's like a blanket of like, I'm really like supported in the way I want to be supported. That's a wonderful thing to say. Thank you for that. For clarification, connection is we're together, we're in interdependence, where we both stand in our own agency, yet we're like this is a collaboration, where fusion is more codependence, where it's kind of more weird.
Enmeshment,
Enmeshment,
right? Like
yeah.
it's you're fused together. There is no individuation. Yes.
Yeah, and on the like the extreme ends of the spectrum would be fusion, and then the other one would be isolation, where it's like, nah, fuck this, I'm gonna do it all by myself. Which that's interesting. Another scenario would be like, well, I need it now. That's interesting, where it's like, I go to fusion. This would be cool, where it was like, honey, I need it now. Can you just go get it before you have to go to Roanoke, or you have to go out of town? And you say, no, I don't have time. I can't make time. I'm sorry. And then I go, well, fuck it. I'll just have to do it all by myself. Where it's like, oh, that's interesting. Where it would bounce to, I need your help. You're not helping me. And it's like, fuck it. I'll do it all by myself. And it's almost like a weird isolation martyrdom where it's like, no one's here so I'll just take care of myself. Yeah, that'd be a weird mind fuck.
Yeah. But then I was like, is there, me, and there's always more
Is
than
there
A
time?
and
Yeah,
B.
which is a
right?
valid question.
There is. And then I was like, I wonder if that our local health store is on what's it called? Instacart. And then I started to get curious of like, is there a way for me to click list this to us type of thing? Is there anyone else I could ask? Is there, because we're not just the two of us.
Yeah.
We have a whole community.
That's true.
And
I also have the agency to do those things as well, where I could stay here and then see if there's some type of modern technologies.
And if you were sicker, I hope you also know that I can cancel going to my monthly segment at the news station.
She's on TV, friends.
Fancy, schmancy, local. It's
She's
good
all
for
on
me.
local
It is
news.
media practice for me, and so I am thrilled to do it. It is very good for me, and it is not the end of the world. If I were to have to say, I am so sorry. My husband is very sick. But correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you are
Which I'm
very
not.
sick. Yeah.
No.
I think you have a cold that needs to be tended to.
I have a low-grade cold.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's so interesting is to back up, and you'll be able to see it on the tape, when you were talking about, that being almost a blanket of support, when I was like, can I be your backup plan? I got teary because, yes, this beautiful dance, this tango of being in connection and autonomy, both human beings, is luscious. Yeah. And when we can, again, intervene at the level of sensation, it's going to be my new favorite thing to say, and understand how much control we actually do have over the bodily responses inside of us, I'm okay, right? I'm content in here. Then we can start to have different conversations that lead us to have the exact form of connection we were craving, which is what will heal the world. You don't need someone pushing you out of autonomy into isolation, right? No, that's not helpful to you. I don't need someone pulling away, and kind of saying, fuck it, I'll do it on my own. It's really beautiful. And I think it's what we're all craving. I think that's kind of the moral of my story is I think all of us have these strategies of bonding with our partners that we inherited from all the different things around us. That's nobody's fault. That's just how we existed. And I have found in my work with individuals that we can 100% we can learn new things, which creates chaos in our brain, which lets us form new neural pathways. And yet this certification that I'm doing is filling in the blank spot where my clients are like, yeah, I know the new pathway, but my body still feels. And I'm like, yeah, now I can say, yeah, what you're talking about is an attachment style where there's a trigger and then an overwhelming sensation and then a safety-seeking behavior and then an impact on your partner, which then triggers and then goes to overwhelming sensation, then goes to safety-seeking and gives another impact. And now that I am so excited to be developing these tools in helping us all intervene at the level of sensation, not only is it healing my body, it's healing my clients' bodies. It's wild.
Can I talk about something that happened yesterday where I went down an old pathway?
Sure.
So I was on the golf course and I was playing for my handicap, meaning I'll play the ball down where it's not manipulated and I'll keep score. I'll hit one ball. This isn't a practice round. It's almost like a competition round.
Okay.
So I three-putted, which is kind of a no-no in golf where you really want to do it in two putts. And then my third putt was about 2.5, 3 feet away from the hole. And I didn't go through my process of lining the ball up and actually looking at it because I marginalized the importance of it. And of course, I was thinking I was going to miss it, and then I missed it. And then I yelled without hesitation as loud as I could, fuck. And what I'm trying to do on the golf course is go to curiosity versus go to anger versus go to frustration. And that is my old pathway of getting really fucking angry at self or angry at the outcome. And I went down that. And it was automatic. It was automatic. That fuck came out as loud as I could automatically. I was playing by myself. No one was around, but it's still highly embarrassing because I don't want to default anymore. And that is clearly still my default. What was I actually mad at? I was mad at that I didn't go through my process, which would have taken 10 seconds because I was already angry at the fact that I was three putting. Oh, now I'm going to four putt. I mean, whatever. In the long stretch, whatever. But it was interesting to see if I had gone through my process of lining that ball up correctly and going through my little routine and then missed it, I'd be very surprised if I would have yelled fuck as loud as I could. So that was just really interesting, taking that away where it's like, Trey, even if you're frustrated because you're going to three putt, you still need to go through this little thing that you do to ensure that you're not going to four putt or to really swing the percentages, 80, 100%, 90%, that you're not going to miss this other one. And if you do that, I can accept missing it versus I can accept missing it and not going to my default, which is anger and frustration itself. That was interesting to me.
Baby, can we try something? Can you do a test for me of this new modality when you're on the golf course next?
Yeah.
Okay. So as I was just saying, right, it's trigger, then overwhelming sensation,
Yeah.
then safety seeking, then impact. Trigger, overwhelming sensation, safety seeking, impact.
What would my trigger have been? Missing or not going through the
So when did you get frustrated? This was my question. When did
when
the
I
first
missed.
So when it
the
was
outcome didn't match my desire.
Can I back up?
Sure.
Did it actually start when you realized this wasn't going to be a two putt?
No.
Okay. Why did you skip your process?
The frustration. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, the frustration of a three putt.
Okay. What I want to try, because I don't know how it's going to work, is the next time you're golfing and you don't get your perfect two putts.
Yeah.
Maybe this will never happen again now that we've had our conversation, and then you can thank me and make love to me very nicely. If it happens, or if you just find yourself feeling that first frustration, can you do my whole 15-second practice? Can you, as cheesy and woo-woo as it sounds, Do a giant deep breath into your lungs, especially into your back, and feel your feet on the ground on the putting green. Maybe look at something beautiful. There's studies that show that seeing the moving grass or seeing the sky, remembering that we are connected to so much more than this moment. Realizing how loved you are, saying something like, I am enough for this moment. Or this does not mean anything about my worth in the world or my worth as a golfer. Whatever it might be in your head for 15 fucking seconds. I am just curious what it will do because I'm starting to do it all the time right now. Mine comes into when I am anxious going into a grocery store or that someone's going to talk to me, someone's going to do these things. And so I've started going, my worth is not determined upon my smiles at people, the amount of eye contact or conversation. I can go into this grocery store and leave without talking to someone. And if someone thinks I'm mean, someone's going to think I'm mean, and it's okay. It's okay. And my anxiety goes away because I say, like, I'm worthy of right now, and it's okay. And I tend to the emotion. Because something I teach my clients all the time is, yes, there are attachment patterns here, but I think we are playing out our own attachment strategies and cycles every day, all day, just in ourselves.
When frustration hits, and actually it was after the first putt because I blew it past the whole 8 feet. So my initial frustration, well, no, hell, I could even reverse it to where it was a 95-yard shot and I blocked it 15 yards, 20 yards. So I'm putting like 40, 50 feet. So that was my initial frustration. Anyway, enough about my shitty golf. Take a deep breath, hone in. I go tree line all the time. I'm looking at tree lines. It's very relaxing for me, and it's like lovely to find tree lines. Okay, so, and could it be a 5-second? Because if I'm literally pausing and stopping, I can do it in 5, 6, 7 seconds. I need to keep moving though. Like as far as for the pace of the game. So could it be 5 seconds where I find the tree line, I take that big breath, and then I can kind of disrupt that pattern of being frustrated within myself? And what was the affirmation that you wanted to say?
Well, I'm curious. Let's do it this way. What is, the critic in your mind that we talk about all the time? What did the critic in your mind say to you when you hit it too far? Or not far enough, or whatever you said.
Yeah.
What unkind thing?
It was just a level, not necessarily unkind, but it was just a level of, oh, okay. It's like, you didn't know the distance. You don't know your distances. It's like, you didn't trust. You don't know. Okay. Which is an extension of, you're not good. Yeah.
I was like, we can find it.
Yeah.
So you tell me, you're such a good coach for other people. What's an alternative that is compassionate, not silly, but compassionate and true?
I really liked where it's like, this doesn't determine your worth. And it's, I'll tell myself this, kind of a reset of like, nobody's taking your clubs away.
Oh, I like that.
Nobody's flagging you down saying you're done. You're off the course. You missed a 40-footer. You didn't put it in your dispersion. Nobody's saying that shit. And it's like, dude, like, yeah. Like, you want to play with really good golfers? Because I'm not. Just bring the vibes. Where you have to be. I am not allowed to be mean if I play with elite golfers or frustrated. Because it's... Everybody does this shit.
We watched the GOAT, Simone Biles, last night.
Yeah, she fell off the beam.
And what'd she do?
She got on the fucking beam again. Yeah. I mean, she was frustrated because it's probably the... how do you interrupt? Yeah, Simone Biles, where it's like, I want to win the all-around individual gold again. And did this just fuck up my opportunity to do that? How do you interrupt that and then finish the beam routine?
Right.
Because I got to be present for the next 30 seconds. And damn, that is a devastating mistake because it could eventually maybe cost her that. I don't know the outcome, but yeah, how do you... Fuck, man.
So
$1 million question.
she already won all around gold. This was just the beam, but I think I wasn't going to correct it, but this is important. This was the beam final. She didn't even podium.
Correct.
She lost it all.
That's right.
She did. And she has worked so much on things like this with her therapist and stuff. And you could tell because she went, oh, well.
Yeah, the the shoulder shrug is better than the audible fuck.
Yeah. The I'm human. Shocker, right? Like humans fall. We watched the beam final. Everybody but 2 people fell. Mm-hmm. And those 2 people got to have a shining moment. They got to podium and it was joyous. I think the other crazy thing is oh, shocker, the world doesn't revolve around us.
Yeah,
it keeps
nobody
spinning,
cares.
right?
Also, who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit?
Nobody cares. I was proud of myself where it was after that explosion, I did go to curiosity where I go, why did I explode? Why did I go to my default so quickly? Hair trigger quickly. Then it's because of this. And all you have to do is commit to the discipline of going through the routine, even on the 2-foot putts. And then it didn't blow up the rest of my round, where I was still, where I didn't go into self-loathing. I didn't go into why me. I didn't go into this always happens. It didn't blow up the rest of my stuff.
That's beautiful, babe.
Yeah, I'm getting better. I'm getting better at this stupid game.
It's, you know what? I love that it's a game because I'll say with my clients all the time that the work we do shouldn't feel like work. It should feel like play. It should feel like a game. And I'll be damned if I don't say every podcast that you teaching yourself golf is so much more than this. You are repatterning your nervous system as you teach yourself golf. And it's phenomenal to watch. It is an everyday opportunity for you to choose curiosity. Yes, you are moving it through your body, but hot damn, that's amazing. We want to move things through our body as we learn. Literally, it is somatic exercise where you are getting to move. And I want to come back to, you said, could it just be 5 seconds? And I wanted to say, yes, so long as you are viewing the new, you're going to keep walking or something, that you're letting it out. Right? So yes, keep walking and envision, have some silly vision where it's seeping out of your bones into the floor or into the grass, right? Remember that one time we talked about this on the podcast, a year ago, I had something really hard happen and you kicked me out of the cart and you were like, walk, right?
What?
When that person said not nice things about me on the social medias and I went with you to the same golf course.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You told me to get out of the car and you were move it through.
Yeah.
Because that is a tool too.
You needed to walk. Yeah.
I needed to walk. So if you do your tree line, I am worthy. This doesn't actually mean anything about my worth. I deserve to get to play golf too today.
Or it's I'm allowed to. I'm allowed to make mistakes. It's you're allowed to, buddy.
Yeah. And so then if you do walk, if you do move through, let it be this excising the demons out of your body type of walk. Let it be a purposeful walk, not a ruminating walk. Yeah. Not I have to keep the game going and I'm just such a motherfucker that. No, let it be a walk of, look at this world. Look at this gorgeous course that I get to be on. This is going to be okay. And guess what? Even if I fuck up the next shot, it's still okay. Let that be the thing. And push it out this, because they talked about that in school, that some people, because of how we learn and the spectrum of how our bodies function, stillness isn't good for all of us. It's really not. So I'm glad you said that, because I think if you do a deep, full breath for 5 seconds and then you make your walk purposeful, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful reset. Shit, babe, we might need a golf podcast. Do you have time for another podcast?
Yeah.
We might need a golf podcast where we bring on people, golfers. Specifically golf, because golf psychology is blown up. You wouldn't be a psychologist. You'd be a
coach. I can
be
be
a
coach.
golf
I
educator.
can be, an
You'd be a performance educator.
Yeah.
Embodiment, performance. We'd come up with a title. That's interesting.
It's
very interesting.
As I'm studying attachment, okay, what I am seeing is the ways that we speak to ourselves are the ways we were spoken to.
Fuck. Okay. Yeah.
They don't get to have those powers over us anymore. And you and I both know who we're talking about, right? These people who spoke to us in such ways that we started the podcast out, right? This idea that I need to be the better wife and go fetch ACF for my husband. That's not my voice. Those are the voices of others who tried to indoctrinate me that was how I show love. This idea, that you need to continue to measure up. Yeah. And the yelling that you hear in your head comes from something else. It's not just from you. And we get to heal ourselves. Right? We have an opportunity if we seize it. And anything in this life can be a game, can be an exercise whereby we grow and become these healthier, more whole. We have whole sections of our schooling on healing and wholing. That to become whole in self is to not only benefit self, it is to benefit our golf games and to benefit the baby, our stepdaughters, is to benefit our partners, is to benefit our communities. And thanks for coming to this very, beautiful episode of the Partnership Podcast. Please remember that these are all our experiences, and take these as opinions. Yes, there's research that backs so many of the things that I talk about and that I'm learning, but that is not to say that this is your time to work on these things. Obviously, Trey and I have been doing this podcast for a very long time, and these are new modalities that we are always learning and stepping into and leaning into. And you have a right to self-determination, and you have a right to informed decision-making. If you want to know more about the things that I'm learning and the ways I work with individuals and partnerships, you can go to sexedforyou.com/free consult. I would be honored to talk with you. And as you can probably see, it's my favorite thing in the world. This idea that we can fix that which has been spoiled is my life's purpose. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye-bye.